Oh, there it is. I was like, where's the thing that usually says that you're live? Oh, good. Great. Um, Good evening and welcome to Winterviews, Series 5, Episode 11. It's the series finale. I'm your host, Catherine Silva, Cat for short. This is Lemon Jelly. And tonight we have the last guest of Series 5. Certainly not the least guest of Season 5. My wonderful friend, amazing writer. We have Alyssa Alessi on the show tonight.
Woohoo! Thanks, Kat. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I'm sorry it took this long for it to happen.
To be fair, I'm usually very anxious about any type of recordings, not as much live, but any type of like speaking thing, I'm like super anxious. But
I get that.
so at Merrimack Valley Halloween Book Festival, we had dinner after that. And you were like, I don't know, like this might be our only chance. Like we just have to do the things. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, you're right. so I haven't said no to anything since you said that.
Yeah. I mean, it's you never want to in these kinds of things. I always want to make sure that people feel comfortable with the show. I never treat it like it's some super rigid interview. You know, we're not going to get into like, and how did you grow up, and at what age did you graduate, and you know, all of this studious crap.
No
We're just
crying.
here to have fun and just have a laid back conversation about the feminine rage horror, which is you know, definitely a huge genre and one that is getting only more prominent, as it should be, with the horrors of the world. And but before we get into that side of things, if you want to just take a moment and sort of give a short introduction, words are hard, to our viewers, just sort of tell them who you are, maybe a couple of the things that you've written.
So my name is Alyssa Alessi, and I am a New England-based horror writer. I've started out in the kid lit area with my debut being a middle grade witch book, which actually does have some feminine rage in there. And now all of a sudden I'm just like really into adult short fiction.
Sweet.
And that's where you can find most of my work now, in the Rack 2 anthology, edited by Tom Dede, Latin American Shared Stories, edited by V. Castro, some secret stuff coming soon. Yeah. I also, as most of you know, organized the Spooktastic Book Fair. So you can see me online harassing people about coming to that.
And how many years has Spooktastic been running?
This is year number 4.
It's awesome. It's I've been to Spooktastic for the last 3 years. It's a phenomenal show. Alyssa does an amazing job of putting it together. This year it's going to be at a brewery, which is really awesome. I cannot tell you how excited I am.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the name of it. What's the name of the brewery?
Roundhead Brewing.
Roundhead.
In Mass.
Yeah. I remember that when you announced, I had gone in and like sort of looked at all the pictures of it because I was curious. And it looks rad.
The pizza is phenomenal.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. I feel like that's just as important as like good beer, but the pizza is like chef's kiss.
Epic. And there's going to be, I mean, there's an epic author list. If you guys want to, you can go right over to the Spooktastic profile, which you can find on Instagram, on Facebook. Is there one on Blue Sky?
No, soon YouTube, only because
Okay.
we have some mini, just as laid back and chill, mini author interviews coming starting April 9th. The first guest will be Doug from Bad Hand Books. So that'll be fun. Possibly on YouTube, haven't decided yet, but definitely Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. So as soon as you guys, once you're done with your Winterviews fix, you can start your Spooktastic interview fix, which picks right up like next week. So you guys should definitely go follow the pages, go check those out as they're rolling out. I horrifyingly have not read your middle grade book, and I have had every opportunity to get it from you, and I have not. And I've only heard good things. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that book?
Sure. I mean, I wrote this book in like 2021, so appropriately, I'm like, I don't even know. I don't remember. It's kind of a love letter to Salem, Mass, and growing up so close to Salem, Mass. I've always felt like these women weren't really witches, and they were more people, not all women. There was a man, but I just felt like they were done so wrong. And the town is just like so commercialized. And everyone's just making bank off the tragedy there, which when I was younger, it wasn't as bad. I'm going to say bad. It wasn't as bad as it is now. Yeah, there are a few like memorials thrown up, but I don't know. If they were my ancestors, I'd be kind of salty about it, honestly. As much as like, I love witchcraft, I do witchcraft. I loved Salem, but I don't know, I just can't help but feel some type of way about it, speaking of like feminine rage. So this 12-year-old girl finds out on her birthday that her like super great, 10 times great grandmother was actually the first woman to be hung for witchcraft in their small town that might as well be Salem.
Okay.
Some crazy man is like hunting her down, chasing her around the town. She has a psychic kind of like giving her all these crazy warnings. And she just has to figure out what's going on while this ghost of her ancestor is haunting her in the scariest way.
Cool.
She just has to get to the bottom of what's going on.
So you basically wrote Wednesday before it was a TV show.
Well, I mean,
minus the Addams Family.
The Addams Family, right?
Yeah, but it sounds similar in vibe.
You've witnessed me do a reading of the scene where the psychic is being possessed. In Salem.
Yeah.
Oh. But I mean, that's just how it is for us. Last time I bought a book from you, we were doing like shady deals out of your trunk. So
yeah, that's right.
That's just how it goes for us, I think.
It is. I'll have to get a trench coat so I can actually like hang books in there a little easier. Because my trunk, I think, I I want to say that was in the parking lot of the restaurant after Merrimack, and my my trunk of my car has had so many issues. I don't remember if there was an issue at that point and somebody had to hold it open, but that is now a problem.
Oh no. I think water was getting in or something like that.
Yeah. So now the I know they're not pistons, maybe they're pistons, but the things that hold open the trunk door have broken entirely. And so we have a trunk stick that holds open the trunk. So in order for me to do any shady book deals from my trunk, I have to prop it open with a trunk stick.
I mean, I'll hold it open for you.
It's just like, it's super heavy.
That's all right. I'll put on like a black Scully and I'll like hold it open for you.
See, we're planning already.
Scheming.
And I also like that we're both slinging wine.
This wine is actually really old and it tastes like extra fermented, if that's a thing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Is it like a Cabernet or a...
It is a Bordeaux. I don't know.
Ooh.
I'm not sure how you actually say that.
But
Bordeaux, maybe?
Bordeaux.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
I think it's like extra fermented. So if I start acting crazy, I'm going to blame it on that.
Okay. The one glass of wine might...
one half glass.
Half glass. So, feminine rage. The mother of all horror genres right now, especially. We are living in a time where women's rights are being rolled back, where we are seeing a lot of emboldened behavior from people against women. And we're not okay with it. And that's representing itself a lot in literature, not just in horror, certainly, but in pretty much every genre. But horror is definitely one of the bigger ones. And I do want to talk about just sort of the idea of what feminine rage horror is women who are basically done with shit happening to them, and they are fighting back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to also state that feminine rage horror is not always synonymous with good for her horror. I think they're absolutely cousins. You do see a lot of that kind of horror together. But you could easily take feminine rage and equate it to a movie like Pearl, which is, or basically most of the movies in that series, where that character is not necessarily in the right, but has had stuff happen to them and they are seeking retribution. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag, I guess. So our first question tonight is going to be talking about the heroines of feminine rage. We're going to talk about them as heroes or anti-heroes, and sort of overcoming how they're overcoming their obstacles, finding their strengths, figuring out their motives. So I guess in as far as fiction goes, when you're writing this kind of character, where do you start?
Personally, maybe with my own trauma. I think a lot of women do. And I recently read somewhere that trauma is passed through your DNA. These extreme situations actually have such an effect on you that they do mark and alter your DNA, and it's passed down through generations. And I'm not a science person. There are really like fancy words for this, but this is what I got from it. And shit, like we think we have it bad. We do. But think back to 10 generations ago of the women that came before us. And I feel like that honestly does live through us.
Mm-hmm.
And even if like your life is great, I don't know. Personally, I'm a fire sign. I'm so full of rage.
Mm-hmm.
Like even when I'm happy, I'm full of rage. And I'm okay with it. So that's, I don't know what that's about, but like I'm okay with being in that space sometimes.
Sure.
And we deal with it in different ways. I think that working through it and writing it out is the healthiest way for me. And I think that's where I start. I start from seeing rights and wrongs that were in front of me as a child to the women in my life. And then myself as a child, a teenager, when you're trying to navigate all of these things and really figuring out, hey, is this normal or is this abusive? Is this misogynistic? I don't know. All the way until now at almost 40. And I feel like I'm just learning in the last decade how similar all of our stories are.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like we weren't allowed to say anything. We weren't allowed to talk about it. And even in my dysfunctional setting, there was still this essence of be quiet, sit down, don't be rude, be nice. Could this have been your fault? Like any situation, anytime you're wronged, maybe it was something you did. Maybe it's what you're wearing. Maybe you were being rude or just situations like that. And I don't think I'm alone in that.
No, I think that unfortunately, stupidly, it all kind of a lot of it dates back to biblical shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Eve being the temptress, you know, eating the fruit in the Garden of Eden, and then it's just sort of carried on with women that we are, you know, a more sinful gender,
Mm-hmm.
that you know, we maybe can't help how sinful we are, but it just seems like we're property, or we have been
Mm-hmm.
property. Women have been property. They are, you know, supposed to stay quiet and stay home,
Mm-hmm.
work, care for kids. Like they have roles that have been set for them that have not changed, strangely enough, much. It feels like, you know, you can look at things now and be like, well, yes, women have made strides. We are gaining more and more abilities to put ourselves on a more level ground with men, but there are still the unsaid, gender expectations that I think drive me crazy personally. I just I have seen it my entire life, and I've seen just this, especially in rural New England, where we're not necessarily as caught up as some of the bigger cities, maybe even like West Coast. It just feels very traditional and not progressive here. I think that's a New England thing, and it's a Southern thing, certainly. And it's frustrating, to put it mildly.
I don't know if this was always a thing. Like, I haven't studied religion, but just on, just being curious and reading on my own, I don't feel like it was this way through like paganism. Egyptian culture really held women on a pedestal. I don't know if this was like when Christianity was introduced or what. Like I said, I didn't study religion, but I feel like the more you read and the more you kind of go back before Christianity was kind of introduced all over the world, it did seem like women had more power. And I think it became something that was feared.
Yeah.
And like anything, when people are afraid, what happens?
Yeah,
So
they push that power down. So
yeah.
No, it's I would agree. It feels very like it's westernized culture, European culture, that has popularized these gender roles. And yeah.
And we're in New England. We're so old fashioned in so many ways. You're right. Like I grew up in Boston. I live in Boston. So I probably am not exposed to the same things you are, but I mean, we're so like old fashioned in that way. Like we just started being able to buy liquor on Sundays. Like you couldn't buy liquor on Sundays forever in Massachusetts because it was like Sunday, the holy day.
Yeah. You in Maine, I think the rule changed in like 2014 or 2016 or something like that, but you couldn't buy alcohol before 9:00 on Sundays, something like that up here. And the only reason I know that is because I tried to do that once. And I was told I couldn't. But yeah, no, it feels there is just this like the traditionalist like sort of prim and proper way of things. And I would argue it feels less like, how am I going to say this? I feel like people that live in the hardier parts of Maine that are working constantly, both men and women, this is not that. This is not them. they're like, this is the it's almost just this like middle class, I guess is the best way to put it. It feels very, very much like it's more middle class. I don't know. I honestly, I might be talking out of my ass right now, but that's just an observation I've had. And it's the same, it falls along the same lines as the, like, we don't talk about politics in, you know, in company with company. You don't talk about religion with company. You know, you're putting on your best, putting your best self forward. And you're not like trying to upset the apple cart.
Yeah, be a polite, proper young lady, Kat.
Yeah.
Yeah, recently I remembered the saying that was said to me so many times as a kid. I actually said it wrong, and the person was like, "Oh, you mean this?" And I was like, "Yes." How many times I've heard you attract more flies with honey than vinegar?
Yep. Yeah.
Now I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like,
That's, and then the make sure you're smiling
oh my
is the
God.
other, the, you know, when people tell you to smile, because you're not smiling, it's like, I think that, and you know, you have too many feelings, and you well, I think the too many feelings thing is actually a big one for me. The number of times I've been told, like, that I'm not allowed to basically feel my feelings. That's a rage inducer, let me tell you. It's like, the people who are able to just like control themselves to a point where they can't show emotion, they can't show a reaction, and then they talk down on you for showing a reaction or being upset by something. That is a whew,
Yeah,
that's
I
even,
think that's what be nice is for me.
yeah, it just like, it sets you off immediately. And when it comes to horror, to seeing the spark sort of set off represented in horror, I think that typically we see it's a little more aggressive of a spark in horror. A lot of the time it's like this immense wrongdoing versus these, what would probably be termed more as slights. But it is like these little ticks that are just kind of adding up until the match is struck. I am struggling so hard to come up with a horror book or a horror film that really showcases that well. But
Of the particular don't have too many feelings.
yeah, of don't have too many feelings, or just like maybe not necessarily such a an aggressive like such a major spark. You know, when we see a lot of feminine rage horror, it's typically because something absolutely horrible has happened, and it's usually this huge thing that sets off the female protagonist. And
Which
it's
pisses me
really
off too, because why we don't need such a reason.
exactly.
Like, I really do hate that. Like, you need this big traumatic thing that sets you off. Like, no, like, we're human and we can be pissed if we want to be. We can be mad. It doesn't have to be this crazy traumatic thing. It's usually maybe because it just feels so intense. It's always control. Like, we don't have control of we aren't allowed to have control of our own feelings. We aren't allowed to say what we want, act how we want. No control over our bodies, our own decisions, our future, the people we're around sometimes, what we want to do with ourselves, our lives, our time. Everything is decided for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's usually the push in any book or movie, right?
Yeah.
I think they go towards not having control of your body because it looks very traumatic, and it is very traumatic.
Yeah. Yeah. Body horror is one of the ways that that's represented, but a lot of the time it is, um, assault, which is
Exactly.
really one of my least favorite portrayals of like setting off a female character, because it's just unnecessary, I think. And I have seen it done well in some places. Like and when I say assault, it's not like it could very well. I think most of the time someone feels like it has to be sexual, and that's
Mhm.
where I'm. I don't need that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to read that.
Mhm.
And or it's like domestic abuse, or it
Mhm.
is something to that effect. um it's like we all know it's happening. We all know somebody that it has happened to. If not ourselves, it's somebody else that we know. Like, and it is traumatic. um
So, I know you don't like that, but my favorite movie is that's kind of like a revenge because I didn't have control of my body,
mhm.
is Monster.
Mm.
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it, but I do know what it is. It's Charlize Theron, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was like so happy for her throughout that movie. I was like, you know what? Yeah, like hell yeah. All of these people deserve this.
Mm.
Oops. What happened?
You okay?
Um, I don't know where you went.
Oh, I was gonna say we're still recording. I've still got you on screen, so
Don't do anything crazy.
um no, when I was thinking of,
There you go.
when I was saying those things, and I was like trying to explain where I was coming from. I think it can be done well if it is not necessarily I don't know what I'm trying to say. I like it maybe more myself when it's not just one person that's being targeted,
Oh yeah.
because they're a woman and because they are, you know, at a in a place where they are weak or alone. I think that one of the best films that I've seen that does that very well without it being one person is The Brave One. That's my like woman empowered film. Not horror, but certainly could fall, like it gets close on a lot of levels. And it's her, she and her husband are attacked in the park.
Oh.
And he dies and she lives. And she finds herself wanting to protect herself at first and then inadvertently becoming a vigilante. And I just enjoyed that film a lot because I liked the natural progression. It felt more lifelike. And also
I've never seen it.
It's a good one. It's Jodie Foster.
Oh. When is this from? Like the 90s?
No, early 2000s.
Oh.
I want to say maybe mid 2000s.
What was it? The Brave One?
The Brave One, yeah. And no, it's a good film. It's one that I go back to a lot. And then you brought this up actually on social media recently. You had just been to the Sunnydale Cemetery, which, first of all, I want to know where that is.
It's in LA.
It is. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's not the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, is it?
No, we drove by that, but I didn't get a chance to go in there.
Okay.
Unfortunately. But like, so I went to LA for my son's graduation, and the one side quest that I had to complete was either going to the Sunnydale Cemetery or going to Sunnydale High. Yeah. I was like, I'm not in LA often. I really have to do one of these things. Mm-hmm. Sunnydale High was actually the high school used in the original 90210.
Oh, huh.
And I realized that while rewatching 90210, I paused the TV and I was like, I fucking know Sunnydale High when I see it. Mm-hmm. That's Sunnydale. So I didn't get a chance to go down there. That's like a little further south of LA, and there was no time. So I kind of like rushed around what's the name of the cemetery? The Angelus Rosedale Cemetery. And it was so cool.
Funny that it's called Angelus.
Yeah, Angelus Rosedale Cemetery. And I had my whole family like searching for this one stone. Mm-hmm. This like one iconic stone. I was like, you'll see it. It's like a person like leaned over with like a cape. Like I had everyone searching for me. Nice. And eventually we found it. Yep. And it was like, it was bliss. I was so happy. And it's like so dumb because like it's just a filming location. Like it's not that serious. But Buffy to me as a kid was everything. Like she was the badass girl. I was only 8 years old when that show premiered.
Yeah.
So if you've ever met me in person or heard me speak on any panel or podcast, I'm bringing up Buffy.
Yeah.
But to be fair, you brought it up this time. So
I recently I got asked to do Gwendolyn Keist for Women in Horror Month did a thing on her blog that was like, name your favorite women in horror. resilient woman in horror character, and I chose Buffy because
Yes.
she's the hell of an amazing character. And if we're getting into feminine rage, that show is a fantastic example of women showing feminine rage. You know, if not Buffy, certainly Willow is a contender for ultimate
Evil Willow.
Evil Willow. Yeah. Just what a show. What a fantastic cast of characters. All a lot of them extremely strong women for different reasons. I liked the variety in that show.
It's still good. I rewatched it like last year.
Yeah.
There were definitely some cheesy moments and episodes, some things that didn't age well.
Sure.
But overall, she was still a badass, in my opinion.
No. I think the last time I had COVID, which was a few years ago, I rewatched that series. Definitely worth watching if you have not, you know, for our watchers, if you have not seen it, that is a wonderful show to check out. Let's talk about the subgenre of feminine rage, particularly in books, which is something I honestly haven't read a ton of feminine rage horror, but I have a lot of them on my shelves downstairs. I know that there's a lot more coming out every week, and it is something that I'm currently writing. I'm not sure, like, first of all, I guess my question is going to be, like, you're particularly, I assume that you're reading within the genre.
I feel like I tried to read different types of horror, and recently I even was like, I want to take a little break, and I read some other things. I've been reading poetry, some nonfiction, just to give myself a break. But for the most part, I feel the same. Like, I don't necessarily like go out seeking books. Like, I only want to read feminine rage. I love it when I do read it, and I want to buy those books and support women because we finally can write this. But I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place with what I'm reading. The last feminine rage book that I read was May Murray's I'm Sorry If I Scared You. I'm not sure if she's usually put into the category of feminine rage, but she should be based on this book. I don't even want to say what it's about because it's so batshit crazy that I feel like you should go into it blind, but you're like, this is so weird and so out there, but at the same time, so relatable. People will think I'm crazy if I say that's relatable, but this character was just pissed off, and she should have been. So I think that was the last like real feminine rage I feel like that I've read. My favorite, I don't know if you would count The Hour of the Witching Hour. What is her name? Alexis Henderson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I loved that, but I love witches. Is that what the book is called? The Hour of the Witching or something?
I can't remember.
That book was so good. I read that book in like 3 days, and usually I take like a week and a half, 2 weeks to read a book. That was really good. I think that was probably what kicked it all off. I think anything V. Castro would be feminine rage. From all different types of like areas of your life. The Haunting of Alejandra, that was kind of just like the pressure of being a mom and a wife. I think she was a wife in that. I don't even remember now, but she also was just like really dealing with postpartum, which nobody talks about.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about the horror of being a mom, period. So anything V. Castro, she usually goes there, and at some point, the female MC is going to kick ass. She may turn into some type of terror in the best way.
You just reminded me, I mean, when you were saying that no one talks about the horrors of being a mom, there is a book. Oh, it's gonna kill me that I cannot think of the name of it. It was turned into a movie where the main character becomes a dog at night. Night Bitch.
I started reading it and I didn't finish it. It's sitting in my night table drawer. Not because I didn't like it. I just got distracted and started reading something else. But I did start reading that. I think I got to like chapter 5 or so. Did you read it?
I have not read it. I did watch the movie. And I, that's, so it's, I think that definitely fits into that. Not necessarily postpartum depression, but certainly the horrors of being a mom.
I feel like postpartum is one area of like motherhood horror. There are so many others, even just like the fear every day of like just regular everyday things, like who's interacting with my child when you're not there. What are they going through? What are they feeling? There's so much anxiety, I feel like, that comes along with it that no one talks about. It's just like, you're a mom. Yeah, whatever. We've been doing this for thousands and thousands of years. Like, it's just part of life. You're fine. You're expected to just be like a strong mom all the time.
It's the same mentality.
Yep. And I actually lied. I said The Year of the Witching was the first book that I feel like, oh yeah, this might be feminine rage. You know what it was? It was Gillian Flynn, which is not horror, it's thriller, but I feel like she very much could be horror. Was it Sharp Objects that I read first? Or Gone Girl? I feel like Gone Girl's feminine rage.
It is.
But not so much in like a revenge way. She's just pissed.
Yeah. No, I would definitely say Gone Girl is feminine rage. And then oh god, I thought of one that I actually have read, which is poetry. Another guest from this season, Grace Reynolds, wrote Lady of the House, which is a like 50s housewife feminine rage collection. Very good. Came out a few years ago. Definitely worth reading.
Ooh, I need to read that. I actually saw some of her episode with you, and I loved how much she laughed. I'm like, she's so cute. She's so cute and so, I don't know, fun.
She is fun.
Like a really good energy. I'm like, I can't wait to meet this person and read her work.
Yeah. No.
I think I actually saw her on one of Rob O'Tone's Talking Talkies.
Mm-hmm.
And like, same thing. I'm like, oh yeah, like I need to have drinks with this person. Because like I'm so mad and she's so happy. Like I want some of that.
I've
I need
only been to
joy.
one. I've only been to one show that we were both at, and I'm really sad that it was StokerCon, and StokerCon was crazy. It was just really like I saw you there maybe like I don't know 2 or 3 times. Like
Oh my gosh.
it was just so hard to catch up with anyone there because there was so much going on.
It's wild.
And it was also just an insanely weird weekend.
This last StokerCon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Um
that that whole weekend was weird.
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about it a little bit on this series, but the hotel, which is now gone as it should be because it was in such bad, it was a poorly run, not a good hotel.
They were already halfway closed when we were there.
Yeah. It anyway, people will probably be hearing about that specific StokerCon for a very long time.
Isn't there an anthology out about it? Or
there was supposed to be an anthology going out about it, the liminality of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to read it whenever it deigns to make its presence. Let me think.
Another Girl Interrupted.
Yeah, that's getting into the psychology.
Like are the characters like physically like raging and like doing all of these things? No, but it just kind of really highlights the time of like, you aren't allowed to have all of these feelings. You must be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put you in a hospital. You're an anxious woman. Let's lock you up.
That's
horror to me. That book isn't horror, but that is horror to me. Like completely being taken against your will and being locked away at a young age at that. I don't remember how old the main character was supposed to be, but I think she was a teenager.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, this is something I'm reading a lot about right now is the diagnosis of hysteria back in the 1800s and before the 1800s and then up through up through the 30s, I want to say, because Freud's diagnosis totally like made things worse. But the idea that that the feelings that you were feeling are caused by you not being in tune with your uterus is like insane.
I remember reading that.
And so yeah, just this whole trying to understand and then misunderstanding and completely causing havoc all because we're having feelings is like I have been I've felt rage a lot as I'm doing this research because it's like, how do you not? And especially because a lot of this became very focused on sexuality. Because if women didn't feel like they wanted to fulfill those very traditional roles, or have kids, they were seen as being a problem. And so for somebody who identifies as asexual, somebody, sex repulsed asexual who does not desire that kind of thing, this feels very personal to me. And I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. You should hate it. You should hate it. Something interesting that, because I knew for a couple weeks now that I was coming on, right? So somewhere in the back of my mind, I'm like, feminine rage. Oh, yeah. So I grew up watching Lifetime Movie Network. Remember that was a thing? All of the movies like in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So I had to think back to some of the movies I saw as like a young teen, basically a young teen, probably not so much. I watched a lot of horror as like a young kid, but not like these types of movies. As a young teen, I remember like the femme fatale.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I loved it. This was kind of like the feminine rage of the time, right? Only all of these things were written by men. Written and directed by men. Going back and rewatching some of these things, I'm like, this is fucking sick. And there's a serious issue that these things actually played out and aired, and everyone was like, oh yeah, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
Starting with The Crush with Alicia Silverstone. She is, sorry, excuse me, my dog is trying to escape. She plays a 14-year-old girl who becomes so obsessed with her family's new pool house, guest house tenant, where she does her best to seduce him and like ruin his life. And he's like so tempted, and he's like, oh, but you're too young for me. And they have her like in a bikini, like laid out, and he's like trying not to look at her, but he's like into it. I'm like, she's fucking 14.
Yeah.
This is disgusting. 14-year-olds are not out here. Like, why are you sexualizing this child, making it her fault, and calling this femme fatale? I'm like, she's a fucking child. She's a child. My daughter is 15. Like, I was a 15-year-old child. I was a 14-year-old child. You had crushes. Yeah, I had crushes. No one was doing that. Like, that was clearly written by a man. And I found that so repulsive that I had my own feminine rage feelings after that, because I'm like, what the hell is going on? Going back, I'm like, first of all, yeah, they're usually these young girls being sexualized and seducing an older man. Poison Ivy, which I loved when I was younger, with Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Same type of ordeal. She like seduces her teacher. There was a part 2 with Alyssa Milano. I think there were others, but I think I only saw Drew Barrymore and Alyssa Milano. Same deal. Young girl seduces this older man. Like, this was not feminine rage. This was feminine rage through a male's perspective.
Yeah.
This was like,
it's a fantasy, essentially.
Yeah. Like, we're so sex crazed that we're going to seduce you. And then if you don't want us, we're going to kill you. Like, okay, yeah, maybe, but that's not the only storyline. That's insane. And no child is doing that.
Yeah. No, and I don't think that there was any attempt to empower those characters.
No.
It really does come across as a fantasy that then turns into a nightmare, but it is written as the the man is the one in peril, so it's his, it's written by that person for that person.
Yes. Disgusting. So I got really pissed and then moved on because this was all like 90s. One thing that I felt like was done better, the child is still pretty sexualized, but this seemed a little bit more real to me, and she did kind of kick ass and like own her body, own herself, and move forward. Have you ever seen Freeway?
No.
With Reese Witherspoon? It's the most like crazy, out of control 90s shit ever. Where this, again, like 15-year-old girl, she has this kind of like dysfunctional home life. Her mom is like a drug addict. Her stepdad is being gross. There's not a lot of control. Some shit happens and she ends up like having to run away, trying to like get to like a family member's house. This guy picks her up and he seems like he's trying to help her, but he gets really creepy with her and assaults her. And she's like, fuck that, and beats his ass and like takes control. And like, I'm pretty sure, I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but I'm pretty sure she like kills him in the end. And like,
yeah,
she's like, I made it to my grandma's house and I killed this guy. Yay me. And I'm like, yeah, all right. So that was a little bit better. And I'm like, okay, I wish I saw that when I was younger instead of Alicia Silverstone's The Crush.
Mm-hmm.
So then past the 90s, moving forward, I feel like it started getting a little bit better. We had like Ginger Snaps,
mm-hmm. Yep.
which dealt with a lot of like body stuff, kind of like going through puberty and dealing with our own rage. What else? Monster, I already said. Jennifer's Body was huge.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think all of these things were still written by men.
Yeah, I don't know specifically about any of them. So
I don't know either. I want to say they're all written by men. I know they're all directed by a man. And don't forget Carrie, like duh.
I was gonna say Stephen King has several. Carrie would be the original, Dolores Claiborne, Gerald's Game. I was looking up a bunch of that stuff today because those are all films I have not seen. Ironically,
you haven't seen Carrie?
I have not. I mean, I've seen shots from it, but a lot of classic horror films I have not seen, including Carrie.
I haven't read Carrie. I haven't read a lot of Stephen King, honestly.
No, that's the same for me.
I think it's because I've seen so many of his films when I was like a small child, and they were like staples like in my home. And even now, like if I see something, I don't really want to read it. Still. So I haven't watched Night Bitch because I didn't finish reading it.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, I am reading something by someone. I can't say who or what because it is not a published manuscript. But it is very much a feminine rage. I don't know why I didn't think of it. I am reading that right now. It's a feminine rage horror, and it's very good. And hopefully that is something that we will see come out. soon. Within the next few years, hopefully. But it's one of those ones where I wish I could say,
Oh,
but I cannot.
is it like a good for her type of?
Yes. It is definitely one of those, like, it's unhinged a little in the believability, but it is very high octane, I guess is the best way to put it. And it's good. So,
but we won't hear about it
we won't for a little bit.
I feel like Rachel Harrison's work could be feminine rage. What's the last thing I read from her?
I embarrassingly have only read The Return. I haven't read a lot of the others, unfortunately. I have a bunch of them, but...
Same. Black Sheep, which I loved. I loved Black Sheep. I mean, I get there is some like feminine rage there again, like not being able to sort of like make your own decisions and just not having full control and then trying to gain control. Always just being compared to a man and his accomplishments. But what I feel like is it kind of like really makes you like the unlikable character, where I feel like women are expected to be likable. Like I said before, be nice. And I feel like she does a really good job just showing like the realness of someone and being like, oh, like they kind of think some shitty stuff, or like that's a weird take, but it's just human and it's just real. Like you're not always going to make the right decision. You're not always going to be likable, and that's okay.
Yeah. No, that's that riding the line between being a hero and an anti-hero. Like it's I think people believe it more if that person is, you know, showing all of their spots. They're, you know, no one is 100% likable.
Yeah. And I like not being 100% likable. So I love when a character is just like so unapologetic. Like, yeah, this is me. Fuck it. Well, I really enjoy that. So I think she does a good job showcasing those types of characters. There are some books that are not exactly horror too. Like we said, Girl Interrupted. The Poet X is a YA book, actually.
Okay.
A story told in verse. It was really good. It was actually one of the school, like on the Boston Public Schools reading list, I think, for my son when he was like in 11th grade. So I haven't read it in a long time, but I thought it was awesome. What the heck was the name of that book? Another YA book, like the Luis Ortega Survival Club or something like that. Again, not horror, but it is women's horror. That one was really good. What else? I'm trying to think of stuff that's not in the genre. I guess those are the only two I could think of off the top of my head.
Okay. I was just browsing my wall here to make sure that I didn't miss anything, but I am Not seeing anything.
I don't know. I know a lot of books are coming out, but I feel like I'm not doing a good job staying up on the list of new releases.
Yeah, it feels a bit, for some reason, like this year it feels like an onslaught. Like it's just so much stuff every week.
Yeah, it does feel like that. And recently there was like the pink horror discourse,
Mm-hmm.
which like people were like kind of leaning back and forth. I'm not saying it put like a damper on women's horror, but I think the pink horror a lot of times would have good for her tropes. A lot of times just be completely dipped in feminine rage, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what pink horror sort of was or is. So I want to read more Wendy Dalrymple for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
she's been on my radar for I feel like way too long.
Yeah, Wendy's got some great stuff. That's another one I'm ashamed. I've read a couple things from Wendy. Sorry, Wendy. I need to catch up with everybody. But White Ibis was my first Wendy Dalrymple book, and I really enjoyed that one. And that one definitely, I don't know if I'd call that one feminine rage necessarily.
Mhm.
I would call that a good for her
Mhm.
book. Um, and Monica Kim, I believe,
Mm.
is another one of those authors who writes feminine rage, and there's a book coming out this month called Mocha
Mhm.
that I think fits into that genre. Um, so that's really the one that was kind of on my radar. The only one that is on my radar right now, anyway. But I'm sure I could look at the amazing list that um, comes out from Emily Hughes
Oh
and
yeah.
find 20 more very
I think
easily.
there's one coming out from Jennifer Giveon. I'm sorry if that's not her name. I think that's her name. She did River Woman, River Demon. Um, I feel like there's a little bit of feminine rage there. Um, and she has a new one coming out. So, oh, I have to look for the name of it. I don't know the name of it, but her name's like on my radar. I'm like, oh, I want to read her next book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then there are a few that I'm not sure are exactly feminine rage, but I really want to read the next. There's a book coming out from Michelle Tang. I can't think of the name of the book, but I can like picture the cover. I really want to read that. I had Monica Kim's The Eyes Are the Best Part.
Mm-hmm.
I got it from the library and I had to return it before I could read it.
Oh,
I know.
that's one that I think I have that one. I think I have that one downstairs. I have that one downstairs. I just keep like forgetting that I have it. It's another one that I need to read. Um, there's just I collect too many books, and then I try to read like 6 at a time and don't finish them quickly, which is what's happening right now.
Yeah, I used to do 3 at a time, and I haven't been even keeping up with that. I used to do like a craft book, a nonfiction, and a fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's different enough.
I felt like it was a good flow, but like lately I just haven't had the mental capacity to do it.
Yeah.
I just haven't. So if I read anything before I go to bed, I'm like, oh, that's great. I read like 5 pages last night.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been listening a little bit on my walks. I'm listening to Eileen right now, which there is some weird rage happening. I don't know if you've heard of this. Eileen. That's like sort of nuts, but like I'm for it. Speaking of like unlikable characters, um, this woman is a little out there. I'm gonna have to look for the book. It's this.
Huh. I feel like I've seen that cover before.
Yeah. It is. The setting is like misty, cold, coastal New England. So,
is that perfect. The same? Is that the same author that does the Lapova? I
don't think so. I don't think so.
This is just.
I didn't get to read that.
Winterviews is a great podcast for everybody not being sure about what books people have written or what titles are what.
To be fair, there's so much information in our brain, and we are bombarded with books all of the time.
Yep. No,
so even if I've read something like 2 months ago, I'd be like, I really don't remember what happened, which is bad. But no, I think brain fry.
It's also, there's just a lot going on, so I completely understand.
But I don't think that's the same author. Is that the book with like that lamb on the cover?
Yeah. See, now I'm curious enough that I'm gonna look it up. While I'm looking it up though, is there anything that you're currently working on that you can tell us a little bit about that falls into feminine rage horror?
No. I am working I am working on something that I would say has some motherhood.
I'm right.
Rage, but more my first love as far as like a subgenre goes is grief horror. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna stay in the number 1 spot for me, and then feminine rage I think is number 2. So this thing that I'm working on is pretty heavy with grief. Mm-hmm. It's pretty depressing, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying working on it. So yeah, but I can't talk about it.
That's okay.
But I'm liking it. I'm liking it's short fiction. And I'm happy with it.
Cool. Very cool. I mean, obviously, I'm a lover of grief horror, so any more grief horror that enters the world makes me happy. Mm-hmm. And I think that grief horror and feminine rage go hand in hand, mm-hmm. certainly. So we can certainly get more of that in the world as well. I did just look that up. That is the same author.
Oh!
So
I haven't read that other book, but I think I would want to after reading this one. Mm-hmm. It's weird. It's weird. And the character's weird. I think people would consider her unlikable because of how strange she is.
Okay.
but I like her.
Cool.
She's very quirky.
I'm gonna have to add that to my list. My never-ending list.
The never-ending list. I'll have to add her other book to mine. What is it? Lapnova?
Lapova,
Lapova?
I think. Yeah.
Is that English?
No idea. I doubt it. I don't think so. I know nothing.
Yay, I know nothing either. We're just two people who know nothing.
Oh. Well, on that note, we're at the end of our episode.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kat.
And talking all about feminine rage with us this evening. Before we go, do you want to just tell people where they can find you to keep up with information on what you've got coming out?
If you want to keep up with me in a nonsensical way where I'm just sharing bullshit, I've been on Threads a lot more lately. And then for future work or what I'm trying to read or reading, Instagram, Pages in the Graveyard, or Instagram, Spooktastic Book Fair.
All right. Awesome.
I actually lied. I do have something coming out that I can talk about. I have a story. Yeah, I just thought of it. I know nothing. See, there's a story coming out in the Seattle Crypticon anthology about a crazed woman who is obsessed with an author and follows him to a convention. And makes it her goal to be with him.
Oh, God. Well, this is, I think, every author's nightmare.
It was a lot of
fun. It sounds like fun. It's not the kind of thing that anybody would want, like, really to happen, which is why it's going to connect with a lot of people.
The mention of Threads reminded me because she sort of like starts her stalking on Threads.
Yeah, see, this is why I got rid of Threads.
Yeah, it's so unhinged. It's like old Twitter in like a good way.
I recently got rid of it, and I mentioned this on the last episode. I recently got rid of it because it was just, there was some good things about it, but I found myself seeing the parts of it that I did not like. Just seeing a lot of people who felt no qualms with attacking other people. There's a lot of keyboard warriors on Threads.
Oh yeah.
And, to the point where just people were mean. Like, people just felt like they could be mean and rude to strangers without any feeling of regret. And I know that that's on every platform, but I saw it more on Threads, and it made me more stressed out. It made my anxiety just like go nuts. So I had to get rid of it just to not have it in my sight, I guess, is the best way to put it.
You probably did the right thing.
But yeah, it's always tough because you know, the more platforms you have, the more you're engaging with people. There were definitely great things on Threads that opportunities that showed themselves that I'll be missing out on. But
no, well, maybe you're avoiding a potential stalker, Kat. So I think maybe
that's fair. Now that the story has shown that it could happen.
Yeah, I think you did the right thing. If it didn't work for you and it wasn't good for your mental space right now, we don't need any help being anxious.
No.
There's so much shit coming at us all of the time from every angle. So if you can identify something that's causing you stress and you can remove it that easily,
Yeah.
then good. Someone said something really nasty to me today on Threads, and I just hit them with a gif like, nobody got time for that, and just moved on and didn't respond, and I'm totally fine with whatever shit they said.
Yeah.
But in other aspects, it's not that easy. So
sure. You've got you've got better armor than I do on stuff like that.
Because I'm angry, Kat. So I don't care.
Bringing it full circle.
Yeah, I'm an angry, anxious woman.
Angry, anxious, Alyssa Alessi.
Yes.
All the A's.
5 A's. My initials is AAA, so I'm actually 5 A's.
Oh, okay.
Angry, anxious, Alyssa. I feel like it's sticking.
And awesome. Don't forget awesome. We're at the end of our episode.
Yay.
Thank you again for coming on. A big thank you to all of our guests this season. We've had a really awesome collection of people. If you want to rewatch episodes, see who you missed, the entire series is available on YouTube on my channel, which is just Catherine Silva Author. You can also watch previous seasons. There's 5 seasons of amazing authors to watch. So definitely go through them all and watch them all. And then we'll be back with Series 6 next year in 2027. We'll probably have, at least another 10 people on then. So just, in the meantime, while you're waiting for the next series of Winterviews, you can watch old episodes, and then you can also watch Alyssa's Spooktastic interviews, which will be starting next week on April 9th. So definitely check that out. And yeah, thank you all. Hope you have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you again soon. So
yay.